Welcome back to Attitude Up for Results presented by Teamwork Online. As always, I'm your host, Tanner Natsky. Today we're talking about minimizing the drought. After today's episode, you will be able to stop the bleeding. You will be able to get back on track faster than you are right now. You will be able to have more upward trajectory in your life. Today's agenda, we're going to talk through slumps, sacrifice, and then we're going to celebrate a little bit because who doesn't need celebration? I'm so glad you're here. I'm not sure that I say it often enough. I am so glad that you are here with us. Also, if you haven't seen our socials recently, you should go check those out. We have a brand new camera. We have a brand new system. We have more lights. We have better audio. Hunter and I have learned a crash course on editing. And so we are now in the editing business. So add that to our repertoire. But this is all for you. This is also the content and the socials that we put out continue to benefit you so you can share them with others and we can continue to impact more people. Let's dive into the episode. Who's ever gone in a slump before? I have many times, and I will continue to go into slumps. And if you answer that question with a no, I just think truthfully you're flat out lying to everybody around you and yourself. Because most people here, I would assume in some capacity you played a sport in your life before. So whether that's in sports or whether that slump might be in a relationship, in a dating life, if you've ever had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you know what that's like. If you've never had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I don't think you can be in a slump. Like if you've never been with somebody, can you be in a slump, a dating slump? I don't know. We'll leave that out to the masses to decide. How about anybody in sales? You've for sure gone into a slump. Speaking from experience, I've gone into many sales slumps before. How about coaching? Have you lost a bunch of games? You can't figure out how to get your girls, your guys out of that losing trend. What about as an artist or a musician or a comedian? Have you produced content that just hasn't hit time and time again? I'm assuming all of you understand what I'm thinking and what I'm about to talk about. Everyone goes through slumps. Thinking from a baseball perspective, an empty mind is a loaded bat. A loaded mind is an empty bat. When Hunter first told me that quote, I didn't understand it. But as you break it down, an empty mind, think of it from a baseball or softball perspective, or even from a basketball perspective, step to the free throw line. An empty mind is a loaded bat. When your mind is clear and you step into that batter's box, you are ready to rock. You have taken all of the training that you have, and all of that training is in your bat. None of it is in your mind. The only thing you're thinking about is that pitch coming to you. You're ready to explode on a baseball, on a softball, and put something behind it. On the other side, a loaded mind is an empty bat. Have you ever been at the plate, the free throw line, as an artist? You've been you're trying to create a painting, and your mind is so full you can't get anything on a paper. What about a writer? What about in school? Your mind is so full you can't get any progress out. A loaded mind is an empty bat. Trust your instincts. Stick to a system and what your body knows. Stick to your training. Let's go back to an athlete. Stick to your training. Stop overthinking. Use your training and move forward. Today we're talking about getting out of slumps. In life, you will go through slumps. It's not about the 4-day slump. It's about not allowing yourself to get into a 14-day slump. Because every relationship has a disagreement. What separates elite individuals is not allowing that one disagreement to become 10, and then you bottle it all up and you explode on the individual. It's about not allowing a 4-day slump in baseball to turn into a 14-day slump. Because you could go over in 4 days in baseball, still be in a lineup in day 5. You go over for 14 days, you're probably not in a lineup anymore. And if you are, either you're on a really bad team or you're the coach's favorite. You're the coach's favorite. If you had 0 hits, you go 0 for 3 or for 4 or for 5. for 14 days straight and you're in a lineup, I got to know something you're doing because you are definitely sucking up to the coach in some capacity. I'm going to challenge you guys right now. Nip it in the butt. You have a slump, nip it in the butt right now. It's not easy, but it needs to be done. And that's what's going to separate you from other individuals, is nipping it in the butt. It's not easy, but it needs to be done. You get back from vacation. Guess what? That first day back from vacation, in my personal experience, is the hardest day to go to the gym. Without question, it is the hardest day to go to the gym, right when you get back from vacation. You probably drank a little bit. You probably had some incredible food that might not be the healthiest for you. You probably not challenged your mind in a work or professional or college sense in a little bit. Is it the easiest to take a test right after Christmas break if you're coming back from college? Imagine coming back from school and going right into an exam next day. There's a reason why America is not built around that. So my challenge to you is, when you get back from vacation, when you start going into these slumps, wake up early and go to the gym anyways. When you get back from school, go right into homework. Dive into your textbook. This sucks. It sucks. It's terrible. It's not fun. But guess what? Life will either be easy now and hard later, or life will be hard now and easy later. Because when I get back from vacation, I wake up and go to the gym the first thing the next day, every single time. It sucks. I hate it. I don't like 1 minute of it. I don't even get a really good lift out of it. Nothing about it is even remotely fun. But you need to stop the bleeding. For me, I have a habit. The bleeding stops every Sunday evening. And that's a routine I've created because of the goals that I want. Because I don't want my 3-day bender to turn into a 4-day bender, to turn into a 5-day bender. Because guess what? I don't go to the gym the Monday after. Well, I didn't go Monday. It's pretty easy to not go Tuesday. I didn't go Tuesday. Well, I haven't gone in a while. Why should I start now? Now, all of a sudden, it's 2 weeks in. You haven't gone to the gym since coming back from it. I had a buddy the other day who saw at the gym. I see him at the gym every morning. And he came back. I'm like, hey, man, haven't seen you in a while. He's like, yeah, parents were in town for 2 weeks. Jesus, 2 weeks. Parents were in town. Didn't go to the gym once. I'm like, why not? That's a goal that you've set for yourself. He's like, yeah, didn't go. First couple days we're here trying to spend time with them. All of a sudden, before you know it, 2 weeks. Who's had that happen before? You were in a great routine. You were in a phenomenal routine, eating healthy, working out, studying harder than you've ever studied before if you're in college, making calls to professionals to learn about different industries. You're in it. You're a coach and you are just drawing up plays left and right. All of a sudden, you take a 3-day vacation, which you need to do, by the way. And now you can't get back into it. You got to stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding. Can't make a sale? Guess what? Sacrifice your Wednesday night with your friends and go make another 40 calls. Can't figure out the perfect play call as a coach? Guess what? Skip drinks with the coaches one night and go watch film. Can't get to the financial goal you want? Guess what? Stop spending money. Have you guys ever got, I am talking to myself right now. All of a sudden you're doing, like, we have monthly budget. So I do great. All of a sudden you're like, you know what? I've been doing great. Let's go to a nice dinner and let's go buy this and this and this. All of a sudden you're like, holy smokes, dude, without even thinking about it. The only thing I wanted to do was have a nice dinner with my wife. And now we're $1,500 in the hole this weekend. You just like, it just keeps going and going and going. You just can't stop it. Guess what? It's not going to sound sexy, but if you have that financial goal, just eat ham sandwiches for lunch every day. Nobody wants to talk about that, huh? That's not fun. Nobody wants to eat deli meat every single day, but guess what? It's pretty inexpensive. Nobody wants to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day, but guess what? It's pretty inexpensive. How about that? That sounds sexy, doesn't it? How do you win in life? Eat ham sandwiches every day. Right? Stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding. My dad has, I'm not saying this as 100% concrete, but I feel pretty confident in it. I'm not sure he's ever had a medium rare filet mignon in his life. Because for him, for my dad, stopping the bleeding has always come from taking it away from himself and giving it to his family and his wife and his kids. And I appreciate that. But the way that he stopped the bleeding was never spending money on himself. He always let us do it. Well, he would give us $1 at a game maybe once in there. It wasn't, we weren't going out and buying Mercedes and nice dinners every day. My dad always eats leftovers. That was his way to stop the bleeding. What about if you can't lose weight or get the muscle you're hoping for? Guess what? Stop buying junk food. Everyone's like, oh, I got to eat healthier. What does that even mean? If you stop buying food that's not healthy for you, you can't eat it. That's one thing that I do often. Like, I try not to purchase. I could down a sleeve of Oreos every single night. And guess what? I would love it. I would absolutely love it. And I genuinely enjoy eating Oreos, especially if you dip it in milk. Have to dip it in milk. I drink lactose-free milk for all of you who was like, I thought you were lactose intolerant. And, which is, yes, is ironic that I grew up on a dairy farm. But guess what? I just don't buy them. Yeah, it sucks. Like, I have to hold back my love for Oreos sometimes. Or like Snickers, dude, I would eat, if I had a bag of Snickers, I'd throw them in the little fun size one. Everyone, it's fun size, and you can have 12 of them, not feel bad, right? I would throw them in the freezer, I'd eat them every night. My goal is to not do that, so I just don't buy them. And not buying them has nothing to do with finances. I could afford a bag of Snickers, but I don't buy them. What if you can't read one book per month like you said you would? How about you just turn the audiobooks on while you're driving to work? What if we condense some of the activities that we're doing? You learn better when your mind is active anyways. What if you can't make it to church early on Sunday morning? Because your partying habits are to go out on Saturday nights. What if you just remove yourself from that environment? If your goal is to go to church on Sunday morning, it doesn't start Sunday morning. It starts Saturday morning when you're planning your day on Saturday. Yeah, it might not be the most fun thing. What if everyone's having fun on Saturday night? Maybe you gotta say no. That brings me to our second point today, is it's about sacrifice. We talk about goals a lot. My question to you is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because people talk about goals all the time. I'm a big believer in goals. You listen to episodes before, we talk about setting goals, smart goals, having action and taking on those goals head on. But the conversation is always about what you need to do in order to achieve your goals. I got to wake up early. I got to eat cleaner. I got to work harder. My question for you is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Think about it. Change your mindset to, instead of I need to attack my goals, to what am I willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to risk to make your dream come true? What are you willing to risk? What are you willing to sacrifice to get ahead in your career, to get ahead in your personal life, to get ahead in your dating life, to be elite? Are you willing? I'm going to give you some actionable steps right here. I'm going to give you 4 actionable steps right now, based on what I've seen from other people and from other successful individuals of what could be sacrificed in order to move further. Are you willing? Here's number 1. Are you willing to risk your finances to get to where you want to go? Not, oh, I got to make more money. Like, that's a cool goal, but what are you willing to risk? Callie and I are looking to purchase another property, and I cleared this with her so I can talk about it freely, because we are hot here at Attitude Effort Results. We are looking to purchase an additional rental property. If we do this, we're going to do this in the next, could be month and a half. If we do this, we will be putting our entire bank account on the line that we have just worked in 3 years to build up. And from one thing, we will be putting our entire bank account on the line. What are you willing to risk? Our goal is to be financially stable when we're older and to give our kids opportunities that we didn't have growing up. We have a deep rooted why. So that's a cool goal, but what are you willing to risk? We're willing to risk right now our entire bank account at 26 and 23 years old. Instead of going to buy nice cars, instead of going to super nice dinners all the time, instead of having all the cool gadgets, we're willing to risk our entire bank account for our children someday, for our lives when we get older. What are you willing to sacrifice? Here's the second one. What are you willing to sacrifice? How about time? Are you willing to sacrifice your time? What about time with family, time with friends? Here's some that are going to hit people hard. It's going to hit me right between the eyes. And I kind of laughed when we were writing this one out. Are you willing to sacrifice watching football on Saturday or Sundays? To work more hours? To go to the gym? To go for a run? To go grocery shopping? To practice guitar lessons? To learn a new skill? Are you willing to sacrifice that? Nobody, when you're putting goals together, no one's like, my goal is to not watch football on Sunday. Like, that's not your goal. Your goal is to learn a new skill. Well, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice watching football on Sunday? How about this one? Are you willing to sacrifice doing events that you love, that you enjoy? Golfing, watching Netflix, going out to date nights with your significant other? Are you willing to sacrifice doing events that you love? I can't answer the question, but I can create the. I can't answer the question. I can create the question though. What are you willing to sacrifice? Number 3. What about taking a risk at your job? Are you willing to sacrifice your job to move forward? You want to grow your career? Let's say that's a goal of yours. Are you willing to step out on a ledge at your job to grow your career? I had a great job in Miami. For everybody from Miami listening, first of all, appreciate you, love you. I had a good job in Miami. I enjoyed what I was doing. I loved the people I was around. And I was scared as hell to come to Phoenix. Because guess what? I had a good job in Miami. Why would I leave something good to go to the unknown? My goal was to grow my career. My goal was to have Callie have a career that she enjoyed. That was a goal we had together. I got lucky to be where I'm at now, but I had to sacrifice a job that I loved to potentially grow. Are you willing to sacrifice your job to grow? I had no idea what was going to happen here in Phoenix. I knew a couple of people. I really didn't know a lot about the NBA. I say this out loud to my managers and my clients so I can say it on here. I think. I hope. I'm not the biggest fan of the NBA. We're not going to post it. That's not going to be a clip, by the way. I'm not the biggest fan of the NBA, which makes me phenomenal at my job. Now I know that because I get to work with my clients. I get to be 100% client focused, and that's what makes me great at my job. But I left the NFL, which I love the NFL, to come to a league that I truly don't particularly enjoy watching on a nightly basis. That's scary. But I wanted to grow my career, so I risked it. I took a risk. What do you want to sacrifice? Number 4, you want to sacrifice going broke. If your goal is financial freedom, are you willing to sacrifice going broke? I want so badly to grow this podcast. It helps people, it serves people. And this platform that I've been given by God and through God's blessing has impacted people's lives. And my main goal in life is to serve others as God has served me. And I have been blessed with this platform. However, Callie and I are at financial risk because of this podcast. Because the only money coming into this thing is out of our bank account, is directly out of our pockets. I don't think this podcast will make us go broke because we're financially responsible. But are we willing to sacrifice losing money, and a decent amount of it so far, to grow this podcast? Yes, the goal is to grow the podcast. However, looking at it from a sacrificial standpoint, we are sacrificing my wife's money in the pursuit of my dreams. Are we willing to sacrifice our hard-earned money to grow this thing? What do you want to sacrifice? What do you want to sacrifice? The third thing that we're going to talk about today is celebrating. Because I kind of just took you on a downward trajectory and called some people out. And guess what? That's my job. Because when I'm calling you out, I'm also calling myself out. Because as Hunter and I write these episodes, guess what? The thoughts are turning in my head too. And writing these episodes actually helps me grow personally and professionally. And so as we just went on this, instead of blowing up at the bottom, we just went on this downward trajectory, and I called some people out. How can we build each other back up? How can we celebrate? Talked about being in a slump so far. Talked about sacrifice. Let's talk about celebrate. 3 S's today is what we're going off of. I'm going to give everybody a second to think about that again. We talked about a slump and sacrifice, and now we're going to talk about celebrating. 3 S's. If you guys didn't pick up on that, I'm just going to let it be and keep rolling. You'll figure it out, or somebody will tell you. How can we embrace the grind? How can, when we sacrifice, when we are stuck in a slump and we get out of it, how can we celebrate how blessed we are? Because listen, I sit up here and I absolutely love and get fired up about working in the sport industry. And I hope, and it is my hope, that you in your profession love what you do as much as what I do. And it has nothing to do with me. It's everything around me and what we've built and what I've been blessed with by God. But there are long days in sports, because guess what? Sports are played when everybody else is able to watch it, because it's all about viewership. Your Super Bowl, well, there are some. Your national championship game's on a Monday, but your Super Bowl is not Tuesday afternoon at 1 p.m. And it's not like that for a reason. I know that some people out there might just, oh, well, it's always been that way. That's why it's there. Well, it's not. Like, there's a reason behind it. And so when everybody out there, when you're watching sports, just think of all of us who are working in it. This is the NBA schedule just came out. For the 3rd year in a row, I will work on Christmas Day. For the 2nd time in my career, I will have games where I'm unable to travel for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Okay, that's a sacrifice because of the goal and the passion that I have that my wife and I now have to make. We don't get to see our families. We also have to sacrifice for our families. But guess what? Long hours, long days, no sleep, people just bitching at you often. Thankless work, all of that we go through. And I'm sorry to all the vacuum salesmen out there, but we're not selling vacuums. We're not selling copiers. We're not jobless. I'm not on the street right now. So when we get through it, how can we celebrate? There are only a total of 153 professional sports teams. MLB has 30. NFL is 32. NHL is 32. NBA is 30. And the MLS is weird because they have 29, which is wow to me. Like, let's get an expansion team out there, please. 29 is a weird number. But the reason I'm saying this is because we get to work in sports. And there are only 153 professional sports teams out there. And let's say there's 10 people on your team. You're now one of 1,530 people in the entire country. There's billions of people in this country. You are one of 1,530 people that get to do what you do. That's how I think about it. So when you have a day that sucks, I challenge you to take a moment. I challenge you to pause. And I challenge you to be grateful for the position that you're in. Hunter was saying right before we started recording, there's been some times that he's going through right now that kind of suck. He's working a lot of hours. But at the end of the day, his mom worked 3 jobs and was gone at nights when he was growing up. To give him the opportunity to now walk into a professional baseball stadium. Is that not cool? How lucky are we to have the responsibilities and the trust of individuals to be in the position we are? Now, not everybody listening works in sports, and I appreciate that. So whatever position you're in right now, who gave you the opportunity? Who came before you? Because someone's got it worse than you. We oftentimes turn away or want to close the doors when something is asked of us. They can do it. I don't really feel like it. I'm tired. Tired's an emotion. Figure it out. I'm tired. Where are my people out there that want to put your head down and embrace it? Like, where are my people that are like, you know what? Give it to me. Come on. Put more on my plate. Let me learn more. Where's that mentality in today's day and age? Where's the mentality of thank you for the opportunity? We are blessed for the opportunity to create, to take on a project, to coach these kids, to impact lives, to create music, to be an artist, to walk into a college classroom and impact the lives of others. Where's the opportunity and the gratefulness for that opportunity in today's day and age? I'll get deep with you for a little bit. Sometimes I feel bad because I grew up in a pretty decent household. I did. We worked a lot. I started working, actually, I think my dad said it at the weekend of our wedding. I started working at the age of 5, driving tractors. I was up early in the snow. Feels negative 22 out. Nobody went to school because it's cold as hell and nobody should ever go outside negative 22 degrees. And I would go on work. But I didn't grow up not knowing if food was going to be on the table. I didn't grow up not knowing if I was going to have a roof over my head that night. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I understand what that is like, because I don't. When my cousin, Jack Natsky, passed away at the age of 5 years old of unknown causes, we just had to trust that God wanted him in heaven more than we wanted him here. I could not go to his mother and say, I understand. Yeah, it was my cousin, but it wasn't my son. So I don't understand. But I could ask some questions and learn how she was feeling. I had a high school baseball coach who has cancer right now. He has lived a full life. He's got, I don't know how long he has to live because that's God's decision. But the human doctors have told him he's got a couple months to live. And guess what? He came to our wedding and he came to my cousin's wedding. And he was blessed to be there. He is dying. And he was so excited to see us. And he's got a positive attitude every time that we had a conversation. He's uplifted people. Yes, he's a strong believer, and I hope you are too. And if you're not, I'll never push it on you. But you guys know that I am a strong believer. His joy overflows to others. How can we be more like this? How can we be blessed and grateful? How can we get out of the slump early, How can we sacrifice for individuals, sacrifice our times to get to the goals we want? And when we get there, how can we celebrate? We are blessed to be a blessing in this world. We are blessed to be a blessing in this world. We are blessed to be a blessing in this world. You guys get it? Let me say it one more time. We are blessed to be a blessing in this world. If you're listening to this right now, you have access to technology. Whether that somebody gave you this technology, or you are on Spotify, or Apple, or Instagram, or YouTube, or Facebook, or LinkedIn. What other socials we got? We got them all. If you're on any of them and you're seeing this right now, you have access to technology. Guess what? 34% of people in this world don't have access to the internet. The internet is one of the most for granted things that we take in our lives. And over a third of people don't have access to the internet. You're going to have slumps in life. Let's minimize those slumps. You want to achieve your goals? Let's think about the sacrifice instead of the goal itself. And when you get there, and when you are elite, let's celebrate and be grateful. Because we are blessed to be a blessing in this world. I love you guys. Thank you for consistently listening and impacting others with me. I am not impacting people by myself. We are impacting people together, and I appreciate you. Let's inspire others and continue to grow together.